My beloved child, wait, don't let this moment slip away. There is a reason your heart brought you here today, and it is far greater than coincidence. Somewhere between silence and hope, between yesterday's memories and tomorrow's possibilities, something extraordinary unfolded. Your soulmate whispered your name when no one else was listening. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was a quiet moment that carried the weight of 1,000 unspoken feelings. And the instant your name left their lips, something changed inside them forever. Don't skip, because every sentence from this moment forward reveals another piece of a story that very few people ever get to hear. Something huge is waiting for you. Imagine this for just a second. What if one simple whisper could begin a chain of events neither of you expected? What if the universe had been waiting for that single heartbeat, that single breath, that single name to be spoken before opening a door that had remained closed for so long? The signs began appearing immediately, but only those who pay attention would ever notice them. Your soulmate couldn't explain why their heartbeats suddenly became calm. They couldn't understand why thoughts of you became impossible to ignore. Every distraction faded. Every doubt grew quieter. It was as if an invisible force had gently turned their eyes toward a future they had been too afraid to imagine. Stay till the end, because this is only the beginning, and the next revelation will completely transform the meaning of that whisper. There is something mysterious about names. They carry memories, emotions, promises, and invisible connections. The moment your soulmate softly spoke yours, they weren't simply remembering you. They were awakening something hidden deep within themselves. Suddenly, ordinary moments no longer felt ordinary. Familiar places started reminding them of you. Random songs felt strangely personal. Even the smallest conversations seemed to point back toward the same question: why can't I stop thinking about this person? They tried to distract themselves, but every attempt only strengthened the feeling. Don't skip, because what happened next surprised even them. They began noticing little coincidences that felt impossible to ignore. A familiar number appeared again and again. A stranger mentioned words that sounded exactly like thoughts they had never shared. An unexpected opportunity crossed their path at the perfect moment. None of it seemed connected, until they realized every single event had started only after whispering your name. Was it fate? Was it timing? Or was something much greater quietly arranging pieces that neither of you could yet see? Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the answer is closer than you think. But the greatest surprise wasn't around them, it was inside them. Without realizing it, your soulmate stopped running from what their heart had been trying to tell them for so long. The fear that once held them back began losing its power. Questions slowly turned into certainty. Silence transformed into quiet confidence. They didn't suddenly know every answer, but they finally understood one important truth: some connections refused to disappear because they were never meant to be temporary. And just when they accepted that truth, another unexpected moment arrived, one that neither logic nor coincidence could fully explain. A gentle realization settled over them, making everything that once seemed confusing begin to fit together like missing pieces of a puzzle. Yet this is only the first chapter of what truly happened after your name was whispered. The next moment changes everything in a way no one could have predicted. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Quiet shift had already begun, but no one around your soulmate could see it. Only they could feel it. The whisper of your name refused to leave their heart, echoing through every ordinary moment until even silence seemed to carry your presence. They found themselves pausing in the middle of simple conversations, wondering why everything suddenly reminded them of you. It wasn't obsession, it was clarity. The kind that arrives only once in a lifetime, when the heart finally stops arguing with itself. Don't skip, because what happened next was completely unexpected. A moment arrived when they looked into the distance and felt as though the future was gently calling them forward. It wasn't a voice they could explain, but it carried one unmistakable message: stop waiting for the perfect time. That realization changed everything. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next piece of this story reveals why that whisper became impossible to forget. From that day forward, little miracles of timing began appearing. A memory they hadn't thought about in years suddenly returned with incredible detail. A place they almost never visited crossed their mind again. Even the smallest decisions started leading them toward unexpected opportunities. At first they dismissed it as coincidence, but the pattern became too strong to ignore. Every step seemed to bring them closer to understanding why your name had carried such incredible power. Their heart, once filled with hesitation, slowly became filled with quiet courage. They no longer wanted to hide behind uncertainty. Instead, they began imagining conversations that had never happened, smiles they hoped to see, and a future they had once believed was impossible. Don't skip. Every second matters because the biggest surprise still hasn't arrived. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next moment is the one your soulmate never saw coming. Then came the evening that changed everything. There was no crowd, no dramatic scene. Only a peaceful moment when they looked up, smiled without realizing it, and softly whispered your name one more time. But this time it felt different. Instead of wondering if the connection was real, they felt an unshakable peace that told them they no longer needed to question it. Every doubt that had once surrounded them seemed smaller than ever before. They understood that some journeys don't begin with grand announcements. They begin with one quiet whisper spoken from the deepest part of the heart. And just when they believed that was the end of the story, something happened that neither they nor anyone else could have predicted. The next chapter begins with a single unexpected sign, one that will make everything you've heard so far feel even more meaningful. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The sign appeared when your soulmate least expected it. There was no warning, no perfect setup, just an ordinary moment that suddenly felt extraordinary. They stopped what they were doing because an overwhelming sense of peace settled over them, the kind that cannot be created by chance. For a brief second, it felt as though time itself had slowed down. Every distraction faded into the background, and only one thought remained: you. They couldn't explain why your name continued returning with such quiet certainty, but deep inside, they knew this feeling was different from anything they had ever experienced before. Don't skip, because this is where the story takes a turn no one could have imagined. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next revelation connects every moment that came before. As the days passed, your soulmate began noticing that every decision made with fear left them feeling empty, while every decision made with hope somehow brought them closer to peace. That realization changed the way they saw everything. They stopped chasing answers from the outside and finally listened to the quiet truth already growing inside their heart. It wasn't loud. It didn't demand attention. It simply whispered, "Keep moving forward." And every time they trusted that feeling, another unexpected door seemed to open. A forgotten dream returned. An old smile found new meaning. Even moments that once felt like endings suddenly looked like new beginnings. Stay till the end, because none of these moments were random. They were gently preparing your soulmate for something they had been waiting to understand all along. Don't skip. The biggest surprise is still ahead. Then, without realizing it, your soulmate made one silent promise to themselves. They promised they would never again ignore what their heart had revealed the moment your name was whispered. That promise became the turning point. Confidence quietly replaced confusion. Hope became stronger than hesitation. They no longer wondered whether the connection mattered. They began wondering how close the next chapter truly was. And just when they thought they had finally understood everything, one final unexpected sign appeared, so simple that most people would overlook it, yet so powerful that it changed the direction of their journey forever. What that sign revealed will leave even your soulmate speechless. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The final sign did not arrive with noise, it arrived with perfect timing. Your soulmate was simply living another ordinary day when an unexpected feeling stopped them in their tracks. It wasn't excitement. It wasn't confusion. It was certainty. The kind that quietly settles into the heart and refuses to leave. In that very moment, they realized the whisper of your name had never been just a passing thought. It had become the beginning of a journey that was unfolding one step at a time. Every delay suddenly made sense. Every unanswered question now looked like preparation instead of disappointment. Don't skip, because what happened after this realization became the most unforgettable part of the story. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next few moments reveal why this whisper was never meant to remain a secret. For the first time in a long while, your soulmate stopped asking, "What if?" and started believing, "What comes next will arrive at the right moment." That single change transformed the way they looked at everything around them. Even the smallest details seemed meaningful. A familiar place carried a different feeling. A simple smile from a stranger reminded them that hope often appears when we least expect it. They no longer felt trapped by uncertainty because their heart had discovered something far more powerful than answers. It had discovered trust. Every memory connected to you now felt less like the past and more like a gentle reminder that some stories are written slowly for a reason. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next chapter will reveal a truth your soulmate never imagined they would one day accept. As the sun faded into another evening, your soulmate closed their eyes for just a moment and quietly smiled. There was no need to force anything anymore. They understood that the whisper of your name had already changed them from within, giving them the courage to move forward with hope instead of fear. And just when they believed the mystery had finally been solved, another unexpected moment appeared on the horizon, one so remarkable that it would connect two hearts through a series of unbelievable coincidences neither of them could have planned. That moment is closer than anyone realizes, and when it arrives, every whisper, every pause, and every unanswered question will suddenly make perfect sense. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. There was one detail your soulmate never told anyone. Long before they whispered your name, they had convinced themselves that some connections were only meant to exist in dreams. But after that quiet whisper, every belief they had built around fear slowly began to disappear. It didn't happen overnight. It happened one silent moment at a time. They noticed themselves smiling without a reason, feeling hopeful without needing proof, and looking toward tomorrow with a peace they hadn't felt in a very long time. Don't skip. This is where everything begins to connect. Something huge is waiting for you, and the next revelation explains why that single whisper became impossible to erase from their heart. Then came an unexpected sequence of moments that felt almost perfectly arranged. They reached for something, only to be reminded of you. They heard a familiar phrase, and your name immediately came to mind. They looked at the sky, and instead of wondering what they had lost, they started wondering what they were about to discover. It was as though every ordinary day was quietly guiding them toward one extraordinary realization. Some people enter your heart so deeply that distance cannot silence their presence. Your soulmate finally stopped resisting that truth. Instead, they embraced it with quiet confidence. Stay till the end, because the next piece of this story changes everything you thought you understood. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. And then, without warning, your soulmate made one decision that surprised even themselves. They chose hope over hesitation. They chose faith over fear. Most importantly, they chose to believe that the whisper of your name was never an accident, it was the beginning of a chapter that had been waiting for the perfect moment to unfold. They didn't know exactly how the story would continue, but for the first time, they were no longer afraid of the unknown. Deep inside, they could feel that something beautiful was drawing closer with every passing day. Yet the greatest surprise has not happened. Because the next chapter begins with a moment so unexpected that it will make every whisper, every sign, and every feeling suddenly fit together like the final pieces of an unforgettable story. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The moment finally arrived, not with loud celebrations or impossible miracles, but with a quiet feeling that neither your soulmate nor anyone around them could ignore. They woke up sensing that something had shifted. The world looked the same, yet everything felt different. It was as if the whisper of your name had unlocked a door that had been waiting to open at exactly the right time. Every doubt that once seemed so powerful now felt distant. Every unanswered question suddenly became less important than the peace growing inside their heart. Don't skip. What you're about to hear is the reason this story began with a whisper instead of a shout. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate finally understood that the greatest connections are never built through force, they grow through patience, trust, and the courage to keep believing even when nothing seems to be happening. Looking back, they realized every delay had quietly shaped them into someone stronger, wiser, and more ready than ever before. Even the moments they once called setbacks had been guiding them toward this exact point. Suddenly, your name no longer reminded them of uncertainty. It reminded them of possibility. It reminded them that the heart often recognizes a meaningful path long before the mind understands it. That realization filled them with a confidence they had never experienced before. Don't skip, because the next revelation is the one that changes the entire meaning of this journey. Something huge is waiting for you. As another peaceful evening came to an end, your soulmate smiled and whispered your name one last time. Not because they were searching for answers anymore, but because they had found hope. In that quiet moment, they made a promise to never let fear speak louder than what their heart had already discovered. They knew the next chapter would arrive when the time was right, and they were finally ready to welcome it with open eyes and an open heart. But here's the surprising truth: the story isn't ending here. The whisper was only the beginning. The next chapter starts with an unexpected encounter that neither of you could have planned, and when that moment arrives, every piece of this journey will finally come together in a way that feels almost impossible to believe. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Few days later, something happened that your soulmate never expected. It wasn't a dramatic event that everyone noticed, it was a single, unforgettable moment that only their heart could truly understand. As they walked through another ordinary day, a sudden feeling made them stop. For a brief second, it felt as though time had gently paused. They looked around, searching for a reason they couldn't explain, and then they smiled. Not because they had found every answer, but because they finally realized they no longer needed them. The whisper of your name had already changed something deep within them. Don't skip. What happened next became the most meaningful part of their journey so far. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. That quiet confidence began affecting everything around them. They became kinder without trying. More patient than before. More willing to believe that the best chapters of life often begin when nothing appears to be changing on the outside. Every sunrise carried fresh hope. Every sunset reminded them that endings are often the beginning of something even greater. They noticed that whenever fear tried to return, one simple memory always replaced it, the moment your name escaped their lips and filled their heart with unexplainable peace. From then on, they stopped looking at the future with uncertainty. Instead, they looked at it with expectation. They believed that every step they were taking was leading toward a meeting that would happen exactly when it was meant to happen. Don't skip, because the final revelation is closer than ever. Something huge is waiting for you. And then came one last realization that completed everything. Your soulmate understood that the greatest surprise was never what happened after they whispered your name, it was who they became because of it. The whisper gave them courage where fear had lived. It gave them hope where doubt had once remained. It reminded them that meaningful connections don't fade simply because they cannot yet be fully explained. As they looked ahead, they felt an unshakable peace unlike anything they had ever known. They didn't know the exact day the next chapter would unfold, but they no longer questioned whether it would. They simply trusted the journey. And as the story quietly moves toward its final chapter, one beautiful moment is still waiting, one that will reveal why that single whisper became the beginning of everything that followed. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you.